The Sharks come into Montreal to begin their annual season beginning road trip and take a whooping on Montreal while they're down. We'll have all of that. Aiden Hill with a shutout. Jonathan Dolan scoring 2 goals. All that and more. We'll break it down right now here on Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is October 19th, 2021. The Sharks begin a road trip that takes them through most of Eastern Canada, Boston and Nashville, and they start off on the right foot, beating the Montreal Canadiens 5-0. Welcome, or if you're watching us in Quebec, bienvenue to Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks post-game. We do this after every single game. So if you want to be part of the show, Teal together and interact with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. And, of course, follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, and, of course, find everything at tealtownusa.com. It is Eric Cura alongside Mr. Al Martinet. Al, how are you, bud?
Heyo. Cheers to a new season of hopefully good adventures with the San Jose Sharks. Hopefully much better than last year. But good seeing you, man.
Good to see you, too. I think the last time I saw you, the Knights destroyed us 6-0. So let's get a couple of things in the chat right now. I'm seeing, Burge7F91 saying, do I understand? Whoa, hello. Where'd you go there? All right. Do I understand correctly that the Sharks beat writers Sheng and Kurz are traveling with the team, but Randy and Brett are staying behind in San Jose? If you go onto Twitter, and I think Randy Hunt actually retweeted us about it, I interviewed him a week or so ago about it, and that they're starting the season on the road. It's a technological issue that the NBA, NHL, MLB are all dealing with at this time, and that's how they're producing games. So at the moment, they're not able to go on the road. So that's why you see them at the KNTV studios in San Jose. So just want to put that out as a clarification, because I know that's come up a lot in the social media as to why Randy and Brett aren't there. And trust me, and Dan Ruzanowski is in Montreal, so he gets to have the nice fancy poutine and not Randy and Brett. So just want to make sure everybody knows what's going on there and everything. So appreciate each and every one of you joining us, and of course hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So we really appreciate it. But let's get into it, shall we? This game started quickly and early on for the Sharks after a 4-3 win against a solid team in Winnipeg. Then you have the Sharks jumping on the plane to head to Montreal for a 5-game road trip. Yes, that's right. I keep thinking 6 for some reason. So, but early on, I mean, a minute 22 in, we first thought it was Timo Meier that got the tip off of the Burns shot, but on replay, it looks like it was Jonathan Dolan with his first NHL goal. Nice double deflection in there. So nice concentration and stick handling there.
This was a much better start than obviously game one, but couple of the goals in the first period were very easy let-ins by Jake Allen. I think it's important to point out that Montreal is missing Shane Weber. They're missing Carey Price. And, the historical, when teams lose in the Stanley Cup usually have a off year. So it kind of looks like that's going to be this case for the Montreal Canadiens. Take it, they're only 4 games in, but they're still 0-4. And this is like one of their worst starts since 1995.
Yeah, and it's a tough one because the expectations, even without Carey Price, even without Shea Weber, the expectations are high coming off a year that you go to the Stanley Cup final. And probably one of the weirdest years, weirdest seasons in the NHL. But Dahlin gets that first goal to make it 1-0. And then 2 minutes, 14 seconds later, Couture takes a shot. Allen lets in a bit, gives up a big rebound, goes right to Dahlin. He bangs it home. He thinks it's his first NHL goal, but it's technically his second. But Couture and Meyer on the assists, with Timo Meyer getting 2 assists on there. But Ulf's son doing it again, and these kids have been making an early impact on this squad.
Meyer with the 3-point nights, one of his best games in a very long time. He was one of our disappointments last year, but I know we're going to get into Kane a little bit later, but it just seems like the puck is moving between forwards a lot more than last year. Normally you would see, pucks getting moved up to the defenseman because, of course, we have EK65 and Brent Burns, but it would always get stuck on top. So I think there's more of a point to drive it towards the net and see what happens afterwards.
And driving it to net and having that big on impact, that foot on gas, and of course Ian. Montreal is bad and they should feel bad.
You are correct.
Yeah, big time. So that
should not trade Watt.
You're not wrong there, but maybe treat him a little bit better. I don't know. But after that game against Detroit, who knows? Moving onward, not even like a minute and a half later, Cogliano takes a shot from Hoffman. Erik Karlsson, of all people, comes at him and it's like, what are you doing? And we actually have some footage here of Erik Karlsson getting questioned post game. Hey, Erik, were you about to drop the gloves with Mike Hoffman?
Not even close.
Okay, but apparently not. So, but Gallagher comes at him, it's like, why Ayata? And Karlsson's like, why Ayata? And then Middleton goes up to Hoffman. I was like, oh, come on, Middleton. Do it. But
yeah, I will say that the early, 2 games in, it's not much of a sample size, but Erik Karlsson does look a lot thinner compared to last year. He's skating faster. I do worry though that he only finished with 19 minutes total time on ice, and Brent Burns finished with 28 or 27 minutes. I'm not too sure if that's something going on in the third period or a groin issue again, but he wasn't anywhere to be seen in the third period. So that is something to just keep your eye on. Yeah.
That's interesting to look at. I really didn't take a look at that per se, but I'm trying to pull up the stats right here as we see. But Karlsson, I mean, he was, I mean, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shifts in the third. So, time on ice 18:58. And honestly, I mean, for him, okay, keep the minutes down. For Burnsy, if you're going to play him 28 minutes, and maybe that's personal preference from Burnsy. Burnsy, careful, my friend.
Please don't turn into a starfish. Please don't. but even 27 minutes in the first month of the NHL season that just adds up.
Yeah.
You would figure you'd give some of those minutes to Middleton, Simic. Even Vlasic had only 15 minutes. So I don't know if that is a coach's just keep the time on ice low for those two, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if you're going to give them less minutes, that tells you that you have confidence in guys like Middleton and the Shimmick and freaking Mario Ferraro. I mean, I haven't even looked at the final stats on the night, but I mean, these guys are the youngsters are leading the way into you know, making them have less ice time. And that's the same thing in the sense for like Cogliano and Benito. I kind of mentioned it with Landy on Saturday night that these guys are going to chew up minutes and going to get them to focus on what they should be focusing on.
And like for the record, that like normally you see your defenseman like 20 minutes a game, but it's just when you pay someone the wage that you do for EK65, it's just something just to keep your eye on about.
Right.
If they're limiting his load management for just the early set of the season.
It'll be something to keep an eye on throughout the year for sure. As we move along, I'm trying to pull up the time on ice stats, so forgive me here. But we move on. Weatherby takes the puck over glass penalty. It is what it is with that. But the Sharks stopped them. Had some solid PK. You saw a lot of block shots in there, and then Mike Hoffman takes a dumb hooking penalty on Shimmick, and that sets up Erik Karlsson getting his first of the year with Long Beach native Matt Nieto and youngest of plugs Mario Ferraro getting the assists on there. What did you think of his shot? I thought he was kind of going with like an off-speed shot per se, or he was maybe hoping for a deflection.
He definitely shot it to get a deflection, but I kind of liked there were just people in front of the net causing distractions for Jake Allen. Jake Allen wasn't great tonight. He had 5 goals on 20 shots, but you do like how they're at least giving people or driving people to the net and not going for the fancy pass like they tend to always do when they have this amount of talent. As long as they don't get blocked and lead to offensive chances in the other zone, that's totally fine. It's just get people to the net and screen the goalie.
Yeah, and that's what I've been begging for them to do. It's like, guys, we're sorry you're not going to all have movie careers once you retire. Go to the net. Be that Tomas Holmstrom guy. I think that's something that they should be looking out for, to kind of get in the way of the goaltender. And when you have big goaltenders in the league, let's also, let's be honest here. Aiden Hill's one of the larger ones in there. Do it to your opponent, block it, and for most importantly, for the power play, make them pay. We'll continue on with the stats on the night, but 2 for 4 in the power play tonight. 4 power play goals in their first 2 games. It's to coin Hockey Jerk's phrase, you love to see it. Trademark Hockey Jerk. Yes, I owe you Coke from 7-Eleven. Definitely they were getting a lot of power play chances. They couldn't do crap last year, and with the youthful influence, I think it's been showing.
Like last year, their last power play goal was in April, and the season ended in middle of May. Like, it was just awful. One of the worst power play units in recent memory, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Game method of time on ice. I just pulled it up here. Middleton nearly 17 minutes tonight. Mario Ferraro 22-18. Vlasic 15-12. Shimmick 14-01. You're outside of Burns and Ferraro, all these guys are definitely well under 20 minutes. And that's something that is nice to have. Yes, I'm concerned about Burns. Ferraro, not too bad with 22. But, goodness gracious. To have the ice time evenly split up, and I'm looking at the forwards too, I think no one is under. Cogs had 11:57, but outside of that, everybody played at least 12 minutes tonight.
Yep.
So moving onward to the second period after the Sharks outshot the Canadiens 12-3. Caulfield would take a slashing penalty about 2 minutes in on Dolan, and then the floodgates would open with Timo Meier getting his first goal of the year again from Couture and Carlson. And to me, was it me or is that from the same spot that Weatherby got his goal in on Saturday night?
Yep, top of the zone, and it went through 5-hole, I believe. So, again, not a great night for Jake Allen, but at least we're seeing more creative chances in the offensive zone, either by tips or by just shooting the puck at the goalie and getting a rebound.
Yeah, and getting traffic in there, like you said, to make it 4-0 there. You would have Weatherby taking that puck over glass penalty, but overall, I thought Montreal was coming on hard in the second period. They outshot the Sharks 11-5 in that one, but the Sharks shut them down.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the big concern the first 2 games this season is that just the Sharks just don't have the height to match up against most teams. So they're going to give up a lot more rebound opportunities. And he'll play great tonight. This was his first shutout as a San Jose Shark. But it's just something to just keep your eye on if the Sharks have lots of trouble clearing the puck out of their own zone. That's something they didn't do well last year. So just keep an eye on that.
The other thing, too, is the face-off circle. I mean, like I mentioned on the previous show, they would lose draws and then get burned on goals right off the face-off. Tonight, they dominated the face-off circle, 62% in face-offs. That's a huge boost. You're not playing from behind, not trying to chase the puck per se. I mean, it's just crazy. So there's that. Definitely the power play's improved. Definitely, team defense, and that just doesn't mean just the defenseman and the goaltender, but I think everybody overall looks solid.
Yeah, I mean, last year, again, like, faceoffs were a major issue last year. They just could not get the opening draw from off the puck or off the faceoff. And maybe that's just because they have Hurdle, Couture, and Timo Meier. Like, they actually have their people starting at least healthier than last year, being more productive in the faceoff zone.
Yeah, and it definitely benefits helping getting the puck out, getting things going and rolling in your direction, even if it's just a dump in after a long icing that you guys have been stuck out in there for a while. I mean, that would be a huge thing. Critical moments, as we would say. They're huge face-offs. All of that taken care of tonight. Third period, Sherratt would take what I think we're going to be concerned about this year with some of these kids taking liberties at some of the youngsters. He tries to rough up William Eklund in the corner, ends up getting a power play, and Kevin LeBanc, or was that Alexander Ovechkin with that one-timer? My goodness. I don't think I've seen him take a one-timer in some time, but to put the icing on the cake per se at 5-0.
Like, I actually prefer when LeBanc shoots the puck a lot more. When he becomes super passive, he turnovers the puck, and he's not the same player. So if they can somehow drill that into him to just shoot the puck if you see an opportunity, perfect. And LeBanc is one of the younger guys for the San Jose Sharks. Hopefully he can be more of a center going forward, but I wouldn't mind him just being a left winger.
I mean, it's not wrong, and to have the depth to have him on the third line, it's nice to see. And I think for LeBanc, with the focus kind of being on Weatherby, Dolan, and Eklund, way to make a presence saying, hey, I'm here. I want to jump back into this, and I want to make sure I make an impact. So sends that message on there, and that would be it Sharks win 5-0. Dahlin with his first 2 goals in the NHL. He is the 9th Shark to score 2 goals in his first 2 goals in the same game, and huge thanks to Darren Stevens, who answered my question off at Twitter. 2 minutes 14 seconds, the fastest. Let me see how he put it. Fastest 2 goals to start a career in Sharks history.
Oh, that's a stat of the night.
Yeah, I mean that's a stat, and he's not at Sharks stats. For nothing, folks. So
that's a crazy stat.
Aiden Hill with his 4th shutout of the year. He had a 21 save shutout. 4th shutout of his career, first as a Shark. Sorry, thank you. All around really good night. This is where, and I'm going to steal this from Ted Raimi, where your big players need to be your big players. And Carlson showed up tonight. He didn't have any F-ups, obviously, with the shutout. There weren't any glaring, mistakes with the puck. He had a goal and 2 assists offensively. I mean, that's a nice solid night. Timo Meier, who was also one that got called out, before about how, how it's a critical year for him. He had a 3-point night. I mean, overall take, what do you think?
Takeaway is it's still very, very early on in the season. Yes. Winnipeg, I think, is probably their best opponent right now. That it's tough to know what you're going to get out of Winnipeg. I would put some stock into if they can get past Toronto or Boston coming up. Those teams are pretty much set on making the playoffs, and if you were curious about how the Sharks are going to play going forward, I would say, October 22nd and the 24th, when we face those 2 teams, is when we're really going to get a real sense about how we match up against better opponents.
Yep. You're going into a back-to-back situation first with Ottawa on Thursday and then Toronto on Friday. This is where you're going to see the depth really get tested. What are you snickering at?
Just check chat.
Oh, come on, jerk. You can't do that to AJ. AJ's not in the chat because Carlson currently leads the Sharks. Come on. Oh, man, that's kind of messed up.
It's true.
All right. Let's get to some of the comments that came out of the presser. AJ, thank you for hitting this up. From Buchner, Hill's come up with big saves. What I love is he's into the game, coming to the bench during TV timeouts, making sure everyone is involved. He had that breakaway on Josh Anderson early on, which we've all cringed. I'm pretty sure it was, I'm used to them. It's like, oh, crap, here's a breakaway. Here it comes. Oh, shoot. But it was like, oh, he made the save. All right. Hill getting some love here also from Bugner. Dahlin's hockey sense and Timo's got a different gear. That line is really clicking. So big ups for the line with Dahlin and Timo on there. Last year was a big adjustment for Couture, and he's taken a big step in the leadership department this season. The guys are playing for each other, pack mentally, which is good to see. I'm assuming we will see Wolfpack shirts in the Sharks store pretty soon. Logan saying, guys want to play for each other, and that was lacking last year. I like our group, and we're energized. Last year, we got too cute. Now it's just get it and shoot it. Our net front presence has done a great job on the power play. Like you just said, Al, with the presence of going to the net, crashing that net, and guys were playing hard to get that shutout for Hill. 21 saves. Doesn't get really tested, and that's a tough one for Montreal, who starts now 0-4 on the campaign.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be a little bit tough for Montreal, but oh boy, yeah, that's a tough one to think about.
Anytime you lose your 2 cornerstones on defense, especially your goalie, you're just not going to be the same team. Jake Allen was great when Shea Weber was his top defenseman.
Right.
So, I don't really have any high expectations for Montreal, just because what I said before about how teams lose in the Stanley Cup Finals tend to not perform as well. Plus, like, if you just look back at like how much hockey has been played in the last year, it's almost been equivalent of 2 NHL seasons plus, playoffs.
Right. I mean, and to have that all compressed in doesn't help.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't crazy bad, but yeah, that was a crazy stretch last year to get that 56 game in. Couture goes on to saying, hey, last year was tough for a lot of reasons. This year, I feel good about my game. Timo's playing well, and Dahlin is such a smart player. And then even more love for the second line. Hurdle's like line created tonight. We rolled 4 lines and had a great start. Credit Montreal for pushing back, which we saw, and the Sharks shut them down. Jonathan Dahlin, I swear I'm going to be so close to accidentally calling him Ulf once in a while. I just have to be smart because I'm not the fastest. I have to read the play and be in the right spot. And that's the other thing, too. You may not be the fastest player. You may not have the speed like Patty once did. But being in the right spot and getting to it, you're going to get your chances. I mean, he had almost that one against Winnipeg on Saturday night, which Hellebuck, had an unbelievable stop. But, he was in the right place at the right time tonight for those 2 goals, and that's a big one.
I do just like there's more line chemistry in all 4 lines. I don't know if that's because of a certain player that's missing or not, but there's just more puck movement, and that is really a good sign to see for right now. And hopefully we keep it up going forward. But again, the first real test is against Toronto when you have, a healthy Austin Matthews and all their tool set. So that's, I think, the more bigger focus right now is get the points, but see how we match up against better teams.
Yeah. And you should beat the teams that you should be beating, not like in Sharks teams past that are probably had more talent. They'd always play down to their opponents, i.e. Anaheim in 2009. But beside the point, yeah, I know. But that's a prime example of it. So we'll see that there. Aiden Hill on his night, I felt good out there. That first period, we were pretty dominant, and it was fun to be out there. Shimmick had 2 big shot blocks at the end for me. So this is what we're talking about when guys are playing for each other. And even Bugner was saying, we've come a long way when it comes to culture, holding guys accountable. The young guys are giving us everything they have. And that's what it takes. And you need that team chemistry. You need that unity to come together, and that's going to help out. And it's shown in the first 2 games.
I mean, just on the defensive end, like they're not blowing defensive coverages like they used to last year. There was plenty of times where they would leave someone wide open in front of the net, or just not clear the zone. Again, Jones was bad last year, but he didn't get nearly any help from his, top defenseman. So if the fundamentals are there, I definitely see improvement with the Sharks.
Yeah. Denver Doyle saying, doesn't this team feel like it's having fun this year? It felt like last year was a funeral every game. No one protected or played for each other. And also, if you're talking about a funeral, it was quiet as heck in there.
I mean, it's good to have fans, but only when they applaud, right?
Right. I mean, they were the Boo Birds out there tonight. So, but and Ricky, you are correct. Okay, guys, calm down. Now the Sharks haven't played a team with a win yet this season. That is true. Okay. And like Al was saying, the true test will be a team like Toronto, in play, or a highly young, skilled, competitive team in Ottawa, or as some people like to call it, Ottawa.
No.
So that'll do it for the game. 5-0 the final here. Sharks are now 2-0. just like everybody predicted, for San Jose and Buffalo to be undefeated. Obviously, if you wore number 9 in Buffalo, maybe you weren't necessarily needed.
Just get the surgery, or just Buffalo. Just stop it. Just stop it. Let Eichel have his surgery. Like, it's just stupid.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, just for all that is just ridiculous. Just really, So, we talked about it earlier yesterday. We had a full show with it, myself and AJ, about the 21 game suspension for Evander Kane. There was an interesting article that Ian sent to us today from Forbes, saying good luck trying to find a way for him to get out of his deal here. What did you? I'll ask you. What did you think of the suspension and such? And were you surprised as much as you were?
I mean, 21 games for an NHL suspension is what, 5th all time for the longest suspension in NHL. Like, number 1, of course, is Rafi Torres. So we will always have number 1. But like 21 games we don't know if he has a vaccine, but let's just say that like 21 games for lying that you've, faked your vaccine card is just a joke. Like, and there hasn't been a Shark in recent memory, I should say, that has had more destructive offseason, even personally or professionally, or just both. Like,
yeah,
we can go on for hours about Kane, but like, I want him away from this team as far as possible. And I don't want to hear the talk of, well, we're going to bring Kane back after the All-Star break and he can be our playoff whatever. No, just keep him away. I do not want him spreading his toxic bullshit on Eklund.
And like I said with AJ yesterday, the Sharks now have 7 games left to decide and make a decision on William Eklund. At the rate he's going, he picked up another assist tonight.
Yeah.
But for Kane, if they keep rolling like this, and yes, it's 2-0, it's early, let's not get crazy, but if they keep rolling, how do you put him in the lineup? I mean, yes, he was your leading goal scorer from last season, but if you keep this rolling, how I can't see them, messing it up.
21 games is about mid-November, and by that time, you're already having 4 lines with decent line chemistry, and throwing that into the mix and just saying, hey, we're just gonna like forget about all that success. No, just sit him down to bear to, but even like that, like you don't want him doing the same stuff he's been doing in the majors.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the Sharks will do. Like, I know the HLPA will fight like hell to keep his contract with the team because they don't want this to spread from team to team, but I don't know what the Sharks do. Like, do they just scratch him for the next, whatever, how many other games?
It'll be 61.
61. Like, if that's the option, that's the option. But like,
yeah,
I don't even like. That's just I would keep Kane as far away as possible, and I'm not even opening myself up to like just. Like, I hope everything turns out okay with his family, but like,
yeah,
this offseason has been disastrous.
I hope that more than anything that things get rectified with his entire family, and hope that's for the best. Dana is saying every one of those guys in the lineup earned their spot, and to knock them one of them down in favor of Kane would be disrespectful.
Yep.
I mean, that would be tough. And I agree with you. I mean, if you guys are rolling, I mean, how many times we've heard with goaltenders, you got to keep going with the hot hand. Well, if they keep going with how they're going, good luck trying to find a spot. So,
if any NHL team called up and wanted Kane, I would be like, yep, give me a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
So,
and that's probably what you'll get. And AJ, you're spot on too. This team is vibing, and remember, we haven't seen Barabanov yet, who was on a roll late last year too. So once he gets going, Knizhov is probably out till I think he's getting the surgery on the 22nd. He's out 8 to 10 weeks. So easily, putting them near Christmas time or New Year's. So there are other options as well. So we'll see how it goes. This is going to be an interesting year, and can't wait for everything to continue on. So
I do want to say I'm rooting for him, but like this has probably been one of the first Sharks players I just do not care about, and I'd rather him stay out of state with the team.
Yeah. So, but moving on, 2-0 to start off, just like we had expected. They head to Ottawa next. Should be interesting. Does Erik Karlsson want to give another big ol' F you to Eugene Melnyk? Youngsters against youngsters. You have Josh Norris, and this is for you, AJ. Stutzla, going up against, among others, against the Sharks youngsters. I mean, I'm actually really looking forward to this game. Just because the youngsters and everything, see how everybody's doing on their reset or rebuild, and then you head to Toronto.
Yeah, that's the big game if you're just curious how this team is matching up. I will steal this from the chat that apparently Ottawa has not been a great place for the San Jose Sharks.
Nope.
So
neither has Buffalo, but
true. And thankfully, I guess we have to worry about them this year, though. But
so we think. Yes, AJ.
I do have high hopes for Ottawa. I mean, like they obviously came out pretty good with the Erik Karlsson trade, but I just don't know about that ownership. And if you're a fan of that team, I don't know what to say, but I'm sorry, but because you have one of the worst owners probably in the AHL, but. The Buffalo's pretty bad.
Yeah, Buffalo's saying "Hold my beer." So we'll be looking out for that. All right. Final comments in the chat. Besides AJ saying "Never do that again," Eric. Yeah, I know. PJ saying Drew and Ruzanowski on the radio call was awesome. I will listen to a replay of that on the Sharks Audio Network. Is Tkachuk playing Thursday? I haven't heard anything yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Is anyone expecting anything out of Jonah Gadjovich? I think he got into camp late, so he's probably gonna,
Barracuda.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the tough part. They pick him up waivers, so I think they have to he has to clear waivers to go down. So we'll see how that works. Fingers crossed on that. Although, there's another option in the lineup for a guy who scored 15 goals in a shortened AHL season. Didn't do much with the Canucks when he got called up, but new season, new team. We'll see what happens there. So
I will say that like the moves that the Sharks have made were forced into, like, getting the 7th overall pick and having William Eklund fall to him was just a gift that can't be understated. And, the farm system is much better now. Yeah. These were moves that the Sharks were going to have to do, like trading away Dylan, trading away Braun. But, like, I'm glad it happened sooner rather than, 2 years out.
You're right. I got distracted by Serena's chat. Do you think this is the Sharks' time for Stanley Cup?
Please.
It's way too early
please.
for that. No.
I'm about to leave. Get out of here.
No. I mean, as much as I would love to, yeah, of course. We also thought, hey, 93, 94, nothing was going to happen, but you just never know. Here's what you do. You stay with this team. Obviously, this team is working hard and kicking their butt. Give them the support. That's how I look at it. So, go ahead.
Like, just positive momentum. Like, last year was pretty toxic for this team, and I think it was one of the most toxic seasons, pretty much in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So.
And Tom saying be satisfied with the team moving in the right direction. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, briefly, Islanders up 4-0 on the Blackhawks late in the third. The Predators are up 2-1 on LA. Thank you very much. Jets 5, Wild 3. Did you see Foligno versus Brendan Dillon?
No,
Where
I
did
didn't see
that
that.
punch come from? We got the whole big old Superman punch going on in the fight. What?
I'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, though that's something. Foligno was like he was ready, you're ready, and then all of a sudden he jumps up and then tries to nail him, and I think he just missed Dylan's head. Right, it's like full on Kevin Bieksa when he fought there. So
I love Dylan. Part of me wishes we didn't make that trade, but I'm glad he's doing all right in Winnipeg.
yes, dilly, absolutely. Well wishes, bud, but don't take runs at Tomas Hertl anymore. He's going to meet you in the parking lot.
What was going on with that? Hey, I'm going to go to your house for one day and then punch you at night.
Like you said, he's got a role to play, and
Well, maybe don't ruin someone's career if you're just gonna crash at their house for one game. But
right,
yeah.
So, yeah, Ducks and Oilers tied up at 3-3. Yeah, there's one you didn't expect. McDavid with his fourth already. Draisaitl gets on the board there. Vancouver loses to the 3-0 Buffalo Sabres 5-2. What? Again, Buffalo. What? It's just craziness there.
What's going on?
I mean, 4-1 Panthers over Lightning. What? I mean, Barkov with the goal there. I mean, Spencer Knight with the victory there. Braden Point with the only goal. I mean, that was just...
I did see Thornton spearing one of the Lightning forwards.
Uh-oh.
So I'm assuming he's going to get a game for that.
At least a fine for sure. The Kraken, they need to get re-released or something. They lose 4-2 over the undefeated Devils. Go figure there. Again, it's early on. So you have some surprises, I
think just like the Devils, they have a lot of talent. It's just, is it ever going to show up? And is this the year that you start seeing the first improvements of the team? Maybe not this year, but they're definitely a team to keep your eye on.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the fun part about the season. Everybody early on has a chance, and some people are going to surprise you, and some people aren't.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Hashtag don't stop believing. Just like the Red Wings are 2-1 with a 4-1 win over the Blue Jackets. So that's your update for right now. In case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Hit that YouTube subscribe button and hit that notification bell, and that will notify you when we go on the air. SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and of course always available at tealtownusa.com. So that'll do it. Ottawa is on Thursday. Friday in Toronto. I'm more excited than chowing down corn dogs at the Alameda County Fairgrounds. Just But Al, your final thoughts on where the people can find you.
I'll just repeat what I've said before, but this is a much improved start to the season compared to last year. Gotta like what you're seeing from William Eklund. Right now, he looks like an absolute steal at 7th overall. Gonna be frank, but Montreal is still it's gonna be a bad team this season. First real test is, against Toronto, and we'll see what happens afterwards. But this is a great start and great momentum going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we head to the Discord channel, so make sure you head over there. Just take a screenshot of the NHL standings right now. Enjoy it for a moment because we don't know how long it will last. But the Sharks are in first place. And my favorite thing in October. If the season were to end tomorrow, they would take on the Kraken in round 1. With that, we'll see you on the Discord. Hit us up on Teal Town USA. Of course, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate each and every one of you. We will see you Thursday following Sharks and Senators. And until then, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you Thursday, where we hope Eklund scores his first goal in Ottawa. Good night, everyone.